So you've been doing your back pain rehab, you're doing your strengthening exercises, you're doing them really, really well, you're doing them consistently over time, but the back pain is still there, it's still not quite shifting, or maybe it's shifted a bit but not enough. What is that one thing that you could do right now from watching this video, immediately put into place, that could really make a significant change and move things forward? And one of those things that quite often for so many people in this category, they just don't think of at all, and it's so simple. It's worth mentioning. This is for you if you are doing the right sort of rehab. If you're not even doing the right sort of rehab, you're not doing strengthening work, then we need to get that bit sorted out as well, or simultaneously. This video is still going to be helpful for you. But this is really for those people that are stuck. You know you're doing the right sort of strengthening exercises, you're making progress there, but there's still something that's not quite giving. And that is what we're going to help you guys with in this particular video today. So maybe your back pain is caused by a disc bulge, slip disc, herniated disc, those sorts of issues. Maybe it's a prolapse that's had surgery and you're doing your rehab. Maybe you've got a degree of stenosis, some sort of facet issue, some spondylolisthesis. I'm mentioning a few conditions here, but the point is it doesn't matter which one of these you've got. The point is, if you're doing your rehab, you're doing the right sort of thing, strengthening wise, this still applies to you. Let's just first recap what you are doing right. You're doing strengthening work. You've learned to engage your core. You're doing a few exercises that complement the strengthening by means of taking pressure off your spine. You're taking a bit of load off the spine. You're doing icing where appropriate or where directed, and you're doing a strengthening protocol that is gradually improving and increasing the resistance that you're using, so it's progressive. You're actually doing more than you were a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and you're moving forwards in that capacity, making objective strength improvements. So we're assuming that you're doing all of these right things. But stop right now and think, how many hours a day is your rehab taking you? Typically it might be 40 minutes, maybe an hour that you're doing this rehab for. That's 1 hour out of probably 16 hours waking that you're doing the right thing. And this is where the point of this video comes in. So many people will have relapses, or they'll have sort of a bumpy road when it comes to dealing with back pain, and they just don't address that 15 hours, that 16 hours, that 14 hours of other stuff during the day. And if you've had back pain, or whatever those conditions that I mentioned earlier, which one applies to you, if you've had that for a long period of time, or the consequences of that for a long period of time, you really, yes, we need to be doing our strengthening work. That is vital. That makes the world of difference for both now and for the long term. But if we're ignoring that 15 hours a day that's probably led to the problem in the first place, or significantly contributed to it, then we're really missing a huge, huge component. And quite often you do those things, that 15 hours a day goes by like that. And as we get older, it goes by even faster. But you just don't think about what specifically you're doing. And I'd really encourage you, after this video, sit down, have a think. What am I doing in this 15 hours? Because that adds up. That 15 hours over the course of a month, over the course of a year, over the course of the time you've had this problem, really adds up to a lot of time that invariably is making your back worse. Or at the worst, or the best case scenario, it's stopping it getting better. And this is an area we cannot ignore and we cannot let slip. So if this is you, if you're someone that has had back pain and you're doing the right strengthening exercises, take the time now to have a look at those other activities. We'll go through a few to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what to look for, so you've got some food for thought, but really it's going to be different to each and every one of you. But hopefully, with the strengthening work that you're doing, those right exercises, you're starting to learn correct movements. And those correct movements, maybe you're doing a squat, maybe you're doing some other exercise that's teaching you to engage your core. Those exercises, the reason you're doing them is because you're learning in a controlled environment. You're strengthening that 1 hour a day where you're really hyper-focused on it, to start to put practices, to start to put habits in place so that those cross over to the 15 hours that we've mentioned. Not that they get left in that 1 hour. Yep, I do my exercises fine. We see you picking up a box 10 minutes after you finish the workout and the bounce back is rounded like a prawn. That's no good, but that happens an awful lot. The amount of times it happens is absolutely astounding. So over the years, we've seen people that some of them we know better than others. You know, when you do this sort of thing, you see a lot of people that you know talk to you about their problems, whether it's back pain, neck pain, whatever it is. And you go through, oh yeah, go and do this, do that specific thing. But then you see them out and about, or, you know, around the place, and they're doing those things and they're not even thinking about it. They're sat in the chair, rounded over, just checking the phone, scrolling through Instagram, watching YouTube videos, whatever it may be. And maybe that taught you to sit straight up as soon as you heard that right now. But they're doing these things and you see it happening, playing out in front of you, saying, yeah, I told you, stop doing that. And I see you over here. You're going and doing your exercise, and then you come back and you say, hey, my back pain, my neck pain, my arm pain, it's not gone away. And it's like, yeah, that's because for the last 3 days while I've been with you, you've been doing all these things that I told you not to do. You're not looking at that 15 hours every day. You're not paying attention to that. And it's so, so common People all the time, you see these sorts of things, and that's really what's led us to doing this video, because it makes such a massive difference. You can't have a diet where you eat really, really well for let's say 1/16 of the day, and then the rest of the meals are cake and fast food. It isn't going to work. You can't do your cardio exercise but be sedentary for the rest of the day and lose weight. We can't do anything. We have to put time in those other 15 hours, because they make up such a vast majority of our daily life. So I said I was going to just help you. Think about a few different things that you might be doing. These are examples, but apply them. Try and think of other ones that you're doing on a daily basis. Just be reflective. Go through the next 24 to 48 hours thinking about, what am I doing right now? Could I do it better? Could I take some of the principles I'm learning in my exercises and apply them to this task? You're chasing the little one around the house. He's down there, she's down there. You're rounding over, chasing them around, picking up after them. You're in a rush. I understand you're in a rush, but if you're rounding your back over while you're doing this, and you're doing that, you're chasing after a little one, looking after them, clearing up after them, it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, and it's a lot of stuff that isn't really good for you, and it can't be avoided, but we could do it better. We could be going down on one knee, taking your time more, and unfortunately, you can't completely eliminate that, but that's a simple example that people just don't think, and often we get, pregnant ladies that just had their first child or second child or whatever it may be, or new dads or new grandparents, and they're doing that, and they've had to do that very, very frequently. All of a sudden, one day the baby's not here, the next day it's here, and now all of a sudden you're chasing around, or they just get to that age where they start moving around more, and now you're chasing after them all over the place. It's chalk and cheese. It's a brand new thing that you're doing very intensively for a large period of the day. A simple example of preparing a meal. People don't think about this. But when you're stood up, let me show you. When you're stood up over the kitchen counter, the countertop's low, especially if you're tall. You're leaning forwards like that for an extended period. Maybe you're cutting 15 different vegetables, or 5 courgettes or 3 peppers, whatever it may be. You're leaning forwards, increasing load through the lumbar spine. I know sometimes sitting isn't ideal, but if you go and sit at the kitchen table, you might find that works better for you. When you're chopping the vegetables, you do it at the kitchen table. Chop them up, sat nice and upright with the work surface a little bit higher, and that might be a strategy that you can use to take those 3 meals a day while you're preparing food and make it a little bit better for your back. The big challenge here is not knowing what you don't know. You don't think about these things, but let us know in the comments right here. It's an opportunity to help you guys out. Let us know what you're doing on a daily basis, what thing you think really bothers you. One of the things, maybe there's lots of them, but one of the things where you particularly notice the pain. It may not be significantly greater, but it might be a time that you notice it a little bit more. Let us know in the comments, and we'll see what it is. Maybe there's some easy suggestions that could be made to make it better for your back. And it's important to recognize these things. It's not a case of you cannot do them. You have to prepare your food. It's a case of, can we do it a little bit better to stack more things in our favor, more odds in our favor during this 15 hours, so we can improve the positive impact that our strengthening is having on our back recovery. Another example, we're sitting, it's evening, we're relaxing in a comfortable chair. Maybe we can sit like that for a little while. Maybe you're unfortunately one of the ones that doesn't get prompted by back pain to get out of the chair, and you can just slump down into that chair and boom, we're out, sleeping. And then we wake, oh, gotta go to bed now. Are you someone that does that? And you hadn't really thought, oh, maybe that's not good for my back. Have a think about it. Maybe that applies to you. That's another little thing. Hopefully these little ideas are prompting, sparks are going off in your brain, and you're thinking of things that you could change right now that will have a positive impact on you. If that's you, we don't want to fall asleep in the chair. Sit there for a period of time. Once you're done, get up, go to bed. But you can pop a little cushion behind the back in the lumbar spine. Not a full cushion, because that's just going to help you slide straight down and sit in a worse position more easily. But a little lumbar support is going to help you while you're sat in that chair. Make sure maybe you don't prop your legs up quite so much, because again, if you prop your legs up, that's going to help you round that back, slide into that comfortable position, and before you know it, you're out again. Another really common one is going to be loading the dishwasher and washing the dishes up in the sink. These sorts of things involve repetitive bending. Well, look, at the end of the day, getting the dishes into the dishwasher, there's no ideal way to do that. It's just not an ideal task, but supporting your hands on the surface so there's a little bit more support for your back while you put the plates in or put the knives and forks in will help you. If you've got a knife and fork dispenser that you can take out of the dishwasher, put that on the side. Put the knives and forks in and then put it in the dishwasher, rather than bending down, putting it in and trying to guide those messy forks and knives into the holes while it's in the dishwasher. Take it out. These are all little things, but they add up and they make a big difference. This video has been a bit of a ramble. We've talked about a number of different things, but the main objective of this video was to get you to think about that 15 hours. because we're only doing something good for 1/15 of that waking day, 1/16 of that waking day. Hopefully it's prompted you to have a think about those things. As we said, let us know in the comments if there's particular things that you've got questions about that you think maybe could be done better, because we've heard it all before and we can probably help. But have a think yourself. Spend some time reflecting on it, especially if you're doing the other stuff right, you're doing your strengthening stuff right. And hopefully this really will help you make that one little change in a number of different areas that will really help you get your back fixed a little bit more effectively and really spur on that momentum so you can move to getting a stronger back that's able to protect that lower back injury so it can heal effectively and you can get on with doing the things that are important to you. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you do know someone that's been struggling with their back pain and they've had it for a while, maybe it's sciatica, maybe it's a slip disc, whatever it may be, share this video with them. Even if it's neck pain or something like that, that's a chronic injury, just look at those other 15 hours of the day that you're not doing your explicit rehab. And there will be 100% areas for improvement. If you found it helpful, give us a thumbs up, consider sharing it, consider subscribing to the channel if you do find these videos helpful, and we will see you next in another video. If you want to learn more about Premium Back in Shape membership, there's going to be a video somewhere underneath here. And if you want to stay up to date or tune into some of our more recent live streams and the Q&As at the end of those, then that's going to be down here. And remember, you can subscribe to the channel up here and hit the notification bell to make sure you know when we next go live so you can join us for our next live stream and Q&A.